I've already filmed this video once today, or I thought I did, but I forgot to press record. So now I'm grumpy, and I'm going to answer these unpopular opinion questions grumpily. But before we get into the grumpiness, a shout out to today's sponsor, Cellars. Cellars is a wine subscription service that matches you with wines from all over the world, curated to fit your palate. All you have to do is take their quick and simple 7-question quiz so that they can gather your taste preferences and deliver wines that you're guaranteed to love. You'll answer questions like what your favorite chocolate is, what kind of tea you like to drink, and each box is completely unique to your taste palette. They also send the wine directly to your door, which is a huge bonus for me because I want to like wine or have wanted to like wine and would go to the store, pick out a bottle that I had hoped was good, and then half the time ended up not even liking it. So between the wine being curated to you and it being delivered to your door, the convenience of this service is incredible. Each box also comes with wine education cards for each bottle that outline the tasting notes, suggested pairings, best serving temperature, and origin. They also show you how to store and open your wine, keeping it tasting fresh for longer. This is my second time working with Cellars, and I have learned so much already about what I like in wine, which helps me to then, with my next box, even curate it a little bit closer, because they also allow you to, once they match you with your wines, you can say, no, that one doesn't look good, or no, I have an allergy to that, which is significant for me, and then they'll just swap it out with a new suggestion. So it's so customizable, and as I'm learning what I love, I can customize it even more and get sent really tasty wines. And if you use the link in my description, you get 50% off of 6 bottles, which including shipping is only $55 for 6 bottles of wine. Plus, by checking out the sponsor, it directly supports my channel. I have had a great experience with Cellars, so I highly recommend. And right now, as I answer these questions, I'll be drinking Rising Tale from my mason jar because I forgot to buy a wine glass so you wouldn't judge me. Question number 1, a popular book or series that you didn't like. Stardust. Now, Stardust, I did not hate. It did actually make my worst books of the year. What can be done? But I didn't hate it. It wasn't a rant-worthy book. I just didn't like it, and I love Neil Gaiman. He writes environments so well. He is an excellent writer. I'm not into a quest book. Very rarely do I enjoy a quest, especially one like this, where it's like, our goal is to get from point A to point B, but that would be too quick of a journey. So we're gonna travel, face an obstacle, get past the obstacle, travel, face an obstacle, get past. It's just very formulaic, and I hate patterns. I hate patterns. I have an issue. I have a problem. It's me, not the book. Actually, it's kind of the book because I hated the main character. I actively rooted against him. I wanted him to fail. And in fact, I didn't start disliking the book. I felt okay about the book. It wasn't my style, but you know, the world was beautifully crafted. Gaiman's prose is always just wonderful to read. So I wasn't too fussed over the plot not being perfectly suited for me, but I was holding out hope since this whole book felt very much like a classic fairy tale that isn't trying to be hopeful and sincere. It's a little bit darker. And so I'm thinking, great, a lot of classic fairy tales end in tragedy. And I won't tell you how the story ends, but I will tell you that I actively rooted against the main character and was looking for his demise. I wanted his story to be a tragedy. I wanted him to not get his dreams. I don't think that's what Gaiman was going for. I mean, he wasn't meant to be the hero, but I don't think I was supposed to root against him. Question number 2, a popular book or series that everyone else seems to hate, but you love. The obvious answer to this is Frenchman's Creek. Actually, I was just hanging out with a friend the other day, and he told me that he started Frenchman's Creek, and I told him, oh, you're gonna hate that. And I think he actually thought that I was like calling him picky or something, because he was like, why? Why would I hate that? And I was like, it's just, you're not gonna like it. I don't recommend that book. I mean, I loved it. It's one of my favorite books that I've read in a really long time. I love that book, and I will reread that book. It's amazing, but it's not, I don't recommend it, you know? Like, the plot's poorly constructed, the characters are not great, but it's du Maurier's writing. Her prose is so beautiful. I feel like I'm there. I can feel the salty sea splashing up and hitting me. I can feel the wind in my hair. I'm there. I'm also being a pirate. It's a pirate story. Did I mention that? It's a pirate story. So it's this average girl who gets to play pirate for a little bit. And you know what? I'm an average girl that would love to play pirate. I would not make the choices that this lady made because she did make some bad choices and I do not empathize with her. But removing that, I got to play pirate through Du Maurier's story because when I'm reading a Du Maurier book, I enter the book. She can do that for me like very few authors can. And I got to play pirate and I loved it. But I don't recommend this book. I mean, I don't think the average person will feel the way I felt reading this book. And I understand that it's one of her least popular books, even though I love it. And it hurts me a little bit that other people don't love it on the level that I do. I do think that I'm a very unique reader in that way. And I mean, if you want to read it, if it sounds good to you, read it and discuss it with me. But I think that your average reader is probably not going to get the same experience that I got out of it. Also, Mistborn Era 2. I don't think that these books are hated necessarily, but a lot of Sanderson fans that think that Era 2 is subpar Sanderson. And I do feel that way about book 1, Alloy of Law. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was fine. I thought it was okay. I thought that it was readable and enjoyable for the most part, but I had pretty mixed feelings about it. It was like a middle-of-the-road book for me, which, you know, I typically enjoy Sanderson far more than middle of the road. Obviously, I have an entire shelf dedicated to him. So yeah, I mean, I agree with the first book, but then books 2 and 3, I loved. And I'm so excited for book 4 to come out. And which by the way, I've gotten since the announcement, the thing that I'll be vague about, just in case you don't know about the thing, you should just look it up. I've gotten, since I didn't post a reaction video, so many people want to know what I think. And obviously, I will read near anything that man puts out. And vague spoilers, the first thing at the time that I'm filming this the preview of the first thing has already been uploaded and I'm so excited about it. Hopefully that wasn't so vague you don't understand what I'm saying. You probably get it. Anyway, so many people think that Era 2 is subpar. So many people think that Era 2 is just like not that great and I just don't agree. I mean, is it as good as Era 1? No, probably not. But it's not that far beneath it, you know what I mean? Like, it's still a great time, and I can't wait for book 4 to come out. Question number 3, a love triangle where the main character ended up with the person you did not want them to end up with. Or an OTP that you don't like. So here's the thing, I don't read very many love triangles, and if I do read a love triangle, it's usually really obvious which person the author wants us to, you know, root for. Which I'll say this because I forgot to say this in my re-recording. I said this in the first video, but you don't get to see that because I messed up. I rewatched my last Unpopular Opinions tag video, which I like to redo these every several months because I read more books and I have more answers and it's just a fun tag to do, I think. But anyway, I rewatched the last one, so I'm not repeating any of the answers that I gave. I'm giving all fresh answers. And my last answer was very good, so you should go check that out because I agree with Pass Murphy, she's right. But anyway, I don't actually have an answer for this because I really just don't read very many love triangles at all. So I'm gonna stretch it a little bit and I'm gonna talk about A Silent Voice, which is a manga series. And I will not spoil anything and I won't say what happens there. All I'll say is that there is an implication to a romance that I think didn't service the book. The story didn't service the story. I think that A Silent Voice did an amazing job at showcasing the effects, the mental strain, the mental pain that comes with mistreating a person, with bullying someone. And the exploration of mental health from so many different facets, I loved. The really brutal, honest, painful look at what some of these characters went through, I loved. And the implication of a romance, I won't say who it's between, I feel detracts from what the story was doing well. Whether you like the romance or you don't like the romance is irrelevant to me because it's not really about whether the romance was done well or not or led up to well or not. It's more about, I think that it just distracts. I think that that distracts from the main thing that the story was doing well. So I wish that the romance or the implication of a romance wouldn't have even been included. Question number 4, a popular book or genre that you hardly reach for. So this is actually one of those questions that I can't really answer in a fresh way because the way I answered it last time was like domestic thrillers, mysteries, historical fiction, and all that's still true. Those are still genres that just don't really suit me as a reader, and I don't think I've found another genre since then that I've realized, you know what? I'm not gonna read any more of this. So, dud. The next mason jar of wine that I'll be drinking in this video is Silverscape, which I picked out, or approved that they picked out, because of blackberry. I have found that I love wines with blackberry. Question number 5, a popular or beloved character that you do not like. Well, Stardust, the main character in Stardust, but I don't know, maybe that's not that controversial. Maybe the extent of my not liking him is controversial, but if you really want a controversial take for my One Piece crowd, here we go. To avoid spoilers, I'll just say the character in Dressrosa that wears a diaper and sucks a pacifier. And I know if you're not a One Piece reader, you're thinking, I'm sorry, what? And that's because it's weird. Here's the thing. Don't freak out. Give me a second to explain. I like his character. He is funny, he has a great backstory, and he's so hard-boiled. I love the gags around him. I love his fight that I won't talk about because we're still keeping to spoilers. I love the cover story that we get to see down the road of him and bleep because no spoilers. I really like this character, so I am stretching the question a bit, but the fandom loves this character. The fandom really loves this character, and I like him, but like I'm not fangirling over him. Here's the thing. One of my patrons, when I was reading it and discussing it, said that his backstory feels almost like a writing exercise by Oda and showcases how talented he is that he can write such a compelling and moving backstory for a character that otherwise is inconsequential in the series. And I agree. It's really impressive that a character that is so odd can end up having so much depth. It truly, the man is incredible. But, I mean Oda, not diaper guy. But, here comes the controversial take. I would prefer my writing exercises to be outside of the story. I don't feel like that backstory really serviced the plot at all. And as a reader who is primarily a character reader and who thrives on character moments and not on plot necessarily, I felt like his backstory didn't really need to be there. I mean, it was gold, it was great, it was very well written, and it added so much depth to the character, but did it add to the story? No. So yeah, it was an impressive writing feat, but if it doesn't add to the story, then I would kind of prefer the writing exercise to be outside of the story. So I like the character, don't die today, but, you know, I guess I just don't love him on the level that the fandom does, which might ruffle some feathers there. Question number 6, a popular author that you can't quite get into. I believe I will choose Robin Hobb. So here's the thing. I was actually really surprised that I didn't mention Robin Hobb in the last video, who I mentioned in the last video was I did a good job, so check that out. But Robin Hobb, I'm surprised I didn't say then, so I'll say it now. She has beautiful prose. She's a good writer. She's talented. She writes good characters. And I like slow plots. I much prefer a slow-moving plot that's more character-focused and atmosphere-focused than something that's really plot-heavy and all about the action. But Robin Hobb, man, she puts me to the test. I think her books are good. And I've read 2 of her books. I read the first 2 Assassin's Apprentice books, or Fitz books, and I enjoyed both. I don't dislike her books, but I have zero motivation, and I mean zero motivation to read book 3. Because despite them being well written and having great character moments, it's a slog to get through them because of how slow they are. And Fitz is a dummy. he gets himself into trouble more than, I mean, like, so many people are like, Robin Hobb, she loves to hurt her characters, but I feel like Fitz puts himself in those positions half the time. It's his fault half the time. I mean, he's a believable dummy. It's not like he's supposed to be smart or whatever. He's immature, he's young, he's inexperienced, but also, my golly, sir. So Robin Hobb, I'm not done with her necessarily. I've considered just skipping the third book in that trilogy and diving straight into the Mad Ship or the Live Ship? Live Ship? Traders? The pirate one, because pirates. But I mean, it's not like something being a pirate story naturally means I'm gonna like it, because there are pirate stories that I don't like, and Robin Hobb, I just don't really think that she's the author for me. But I'm considering giving that trilogy a try. Question number 7, a popular book trope that you're tired of seeing. Ha! Fake out deaths! Here's the thing. I'm tired of it. My 2 most read authors, the 2 authors that I read more than any other author, excessively use this trope. And I'm so tired. Sanderson, I see you. You're one of them. And Oda, who I don't have a shelf dedicated to because I've had a really hard time finding physical copies of One Piece in my area. Oda, I'm looking at you too. My 2 most read authors who I have read more books from than any other author. Probably, maybe I didn't actually look at statistics at all, but you know, it seems like it. They overuse this trope so much. I mean, I don't like this trope, but I will forgive it once or twice. But sirs, commit or quit. Question number 8, a popular series that you have no interest in reading. Outlander. So Outlander is a series that has been recommended to me a lot, and I don't quite understand why. Because every time it's recommended to me and people pitch it to me, it doesn't sound like my thing. It doesn't sound like the type of thing that I would read and enjoy. Like, I have no negative feelings about it. I've never read the books and I've never watched the series, so I have no negative thoughts toward it. It's just every time it's pitched to me, it's like, that doesn't sound like me though. So it's really popular. It's really well loved, but honestly, I just don't have any interest in it. It just doesn't seem like my sort of thing. His Dark Materials as well, again, been recommended to me quite a few times. And in fact, my friend Daniel Green, check out his channel, he's wonderful. It was one of his favorite series growing up, but every time it's pitched, it's like, nah, that doesn't sound like me. Just no interest. The final one that I am drinking as I talk about my final question is Forever Fleeting, which I picked because it has lemon, grapefruit, green pear, and lemongrass, and that sounds delightful. And do you know what? It actually is. One thing that I've learned about myself as I've been tasting these wines, as I've been doing this with Bright Cellars, is that I am a red wine kind of person. I don't tend to like anything but red wine. But because this was grapefruit, or there's grapefruit in it, I wanted to try it, and it's good. I'm learning so much about my tastes. Question number 9. The saying goes, the book is always better than the movie, but what movie or TV show adaptation do you prefer more than the book? Stardust? But that was in my last video, so I'll move on. The Labyrinth. So the book is fine. The book is good. I did DNF it, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. I don't have anything negative to say about it. I just didn't care that much. Because the movie I grew up watching, my dad loves this movie. And when I was a kid, I watched it so many times with him, the one with David Bowie. I think there's only one. I watched it so many times with him, and I have such wonderful feelings about this movie. So when I was reading the book, it was good. I have nothing negative to say about it. It just wasn't the movie. And so I just like the movie better. Same for The Princess Bride. I love that movie so much, and I tried reading the book after I watched the movie. And don't get me wrong, there have been many books that I've read after watching the movie. In fact, it's usually classics because I grew up watching Disney movies, and then I wanted to read source materials, so I have loads of classics on my shelves. This whole shelf is classics, but all those are fairy tales. This whole shelf is classics, and that whole shelf is classics. I have 3 classic shelves, and a lot of them are old fairy tales based off of movies that I watched growing up. Not all of them, a lot of them are. And I love so many books more than movies. Peter Pan, obviously, Alice in Wonderland, The Little Mermaid, The Beauty and the Beast. I kind of love them both. Winnie the Pooh, Frankenstein, Treasure Island, Anne of Green Gables. Actually, I never watched an Anne of Green Gables movie. Whatever, you get the point. There's a lot. So it's not necessarily that I don't It's not just that I watch the movies first, it's just that I watch the movies first and I love them so much, which was true of all the things that I just said. But the book for The Princess Bride is good, but it's like if you've watched the movie, you've read the book. The movie, it feels like at times for certain scenes it takes the scene from the book and just uses it as a scriptwrite for the movie, which is like a reader's dream, right? It's such a loyal adaptation, which is amazing. But here's the thing, the book has more, which is usually a positive to the book. Expanded scenes, extra scenes that the movie can't fit in because it's an adaptation and it has to condense because of the formatting and it's just the way it is. But the thing is, the movie amplifies what should be amplified in the books and cuts what could have been cut in the books. I mean, it is the purest version of this story. And there are very few movies that I would say this to, but that's how I feel. So there you go, that's the unpopular opinions tag. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your answers. I have all the questions linked in the, not linked, I have all the questions in the description, and I'll link the old video too because, you know, I referenced it a couple of times in case you want to watch it. But I would love for you to take those questions, put them in the comments, and answer them yourself. I'd love to read through your unpopular opinions as well. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday, plus I started a second channel where I post weekly reading vlogs, take you through a little bit of my life. We talk more in depth about books. It's a good time. Check it out. It'll be linked as well if you like. I post videos every Tuesday and Friday and Thursday on the vlog channel. I'll see you again soon. Bye.